Hey everyone. So today we're going to talk about the future of DAO's financial reporting. So as you all know, blockchain makes transactional data transparent and accessible. You can look at every transactions, every blocks, every smart contract events. And there's been a lot of money invested in crypto data providers since 2020. Right in the next semester, there was over 1.5 billion invested, including the Analytics Series B, Luca Series E, as well as Messari Series B that was just announced on Wednesday. Yet, it still takes a ton of efforts to get a complete picture of a project. If you just look at Uniswap as an example, you need to go to at least 8 different products in order to get a complete picture of the Uniswap landscape. You need to go to Discourse for governance discussion, Snapshot for votes, Token Terminal for revenue data, CoinGecko for basic market data, Nansen for ownership data, CoinDesk for news, et cetera, et cetera. And it's also very complicated to get a complete picture of Uniswap because Uniswap is not just an asset or it's not just a protocol. It's actually an asset, multiple protocol, which themselves are deployed on multiple networks. It's actually multiple governing bodies between the Uniswap DAO and the Uniswap Grants DAO. And it's also an organization with Uniswap Labs and Uniswap Ventures. So if you compare it to TradFi and you take a similarly ranked company by market cap, which happens to be a French company, LVMH, you'll see that you can find revenue, market data, ownership data, news data, corporate events, and much more in a lot of different places, all centralized. You have S&P Market Intelligence, you have FactSet, Bloomberg, Refinitiv Icon, and even Google Finance has all of the data you need. Income statements, quality income statements, market data, everything. So why is it so hard in crypto, although data is supposed to be transparent and accessible, and how do we solve that? So today we'll go over 4 main sections. First, we'll talk about the power of Messari quality reports and how we intend to solve that on a quarterly basis. Then we'll talk about real-time reporting on Messari. Then we'll touch on pretty quickly about our vision for the future of reporting. And at the end, we'll have a call to action to come help us. So I'll hand it to Maartje to talk about the power of Messari quality reports.
OK. So thanks, Florent. So at Messari, it's our mission to provide transparency to the crypto economy to help stakeholders make better decisions. Our quarterly reports fulfill or help protocols fulfill their fiduciary duty to provide transparency to their stakeholders about their health and financial performance. You can kind of think about it as a 10Q on steroids. You know, our quarterly reports provide a point-in-time snapshot of that, of the financial health and of their business operations. However, the fact that these protocols live on public blockchains offers a couple of advantages on top of these 10Qs. So first of all, there's the transparency. So ultimately, whatever metrics we calculate and provide ultimately can be traced back to these public blockchains. Second is standardization. You've heard Ryan talk about it on Monday. We think this is a very big advantage, right? So standardize these financial statements so you can compare apples to apples across protocols that are similar in nature. And you may think like, well, you know, 10Q is kind of like a forum. You know, don't we have US GAAP? Doesn't that provide standardization? But we all know about creative accounting and how research analysts and investment bankers in TradFi spend countless hours normalizing these supposedly standardized financial statements. Real-time analysis. The holy grail is for us to actually give you guys real-time financial statements, living and breathing financial statement in Messari.io. We're getting there. But in the meanwhile, our analysts can already pull this raw data in real time and monitor things as they unfold and dive into why certain things happen so they don't have to do that 3 months after the fact when it may be a lot harder to do that. And then finally, we aim, as a third party, we can be really objective and provide objective analysis and insight on things. Now, what does a Messari quarterly report look like? At a very high level, after providing a very brief primer or refreshing, if you like, about the protocol, about the protocol, there's two major sections. One is a quantitative analysis or performance analysis. The other one is a qualitative analysis. But it all really starts with our analysts really understanding these protocols from protocols. So, they will look at the tech stack, understand how the protocol works, who the players are, how value flows, and also how it compares to other protocols and what some of the nuances are. And then from there, they think about, so what are really the metrics that reflect the health and financial performance and the business of this protocol? And they don't start from scratch there. So coming back to the standardization element, we've developed, as we've been doing this now for a little bit, we've developed like standards, like templates, if you like, for protocols. So that is our starting point. And then we look at the nuances for the specific protocol. Once we've got that, and that's the two tables you see on the top there, we dive in the performance analysis and chart out specific metrics and try to derive insights and really help the community understand what happens and why it happens. In the qualitative section, we start with key events, governance decisions and discussions, grants, what's on the protocol's roadmap, and we try to provide insight into what the strategy is, where they're at in terms of executing on this strategy, and what may be in stock for the future. So that is the report itself. Now, you may say, well, why can a protocol not do this themselves, right? Or why does Messari has to do it? Why can't it be an individual? Well, it's really hard. Yes, the data is publicly available. Florent touched on that, but it's hard. And it's really like a collaboration between our research analysts who are like sector specialists and who cover or start covering these specific protocols, between our team of data scientists, and also the protocol comes in. We already talked about the research analysts, so let's talk about the data science team, the data engineer, right? So a couple of reasons why this data is like such a big task. Well, first of all, the data comes in different shapes and sizes. So a lot of these blockchains, or all these blockchains, they have APIs, but not all the exact data points that we need may be available. It may be hard to pull them off the blockchain. So you may have to go to different sources to do that have done some of that work for you. Second, it may not be available in the size or at the speed that they want. As we recently encountered, it would have taken like 13,000 hours to pull the data directly that we needed, which is obviously not what we want. Also, you may need different programming languages, and there are like different plumbing mechanisms to pull the data. Second, then we also care, and I touched on that briefly, but like on the size and the speed of the blockchain. Then finally, once we have the data, you need to clean it, you need to organize it, you need to curate it. You may need to perform calculations to get the metrics. And then, you need to draw out insights, so plotting various variables against each other. So again, that's a back and forward between the data engineer and the research analyst, but also we get help from the protocol, because sometimes we need to get data, certain data points from them, or we need them to look whether we have all the smart contracts included, whether the data looks correct to them, or whether we're missing something. And finally, why Messari? 5 reasons, right? So 1, that standardization that we've been doing, building out the standards for the industry. 2, consistency, right? We're in this for the long term versus like an individual, that may be off after a quarter, or like a much smaller firm. 3, the brand value. right? So we have credentials, we stand for quality. Florent will talk about that. We have a lot of resources that go into this. And finally, which I will talk about, distribution. So we started this last October with Compound, or as we call all of these, the state of Compound. And this quarter, so just a year later, we will be doing close to 40 of those. And we cover like all the major sectors, and we cover a lot of the blue chips already. So just to give you a couple of examples, we just did the inaugural reports for Bitcoin and Ethereum, released slightly early, so you guys could have them in our new PDF format just before mainnet started. And this October, we will be doing for the layer ones, we will be doing again BNB Chain, Solana, Avalanche are three of the examples. In DeFi, you heard Compound. We're also doing Uniswap, 1inch, DYDX. In Web3, LivePeer, Filecoin, the Sandbox, and so on. And it's our mission to provide these over time for all meaningful assets. And we hope to get to 100 in the first half of next year. And we will continue to evolve these standards after we will be doing more of those. And then last but not least, really important is our distribution platform. For starters, in the ethos of crypto, and also as people are used to in TradFi, we want these to be open access. We want people to be able to access these for free and use them. So we apply, if possible, for grants from DAOs and Protocol to fund these, so we can achieve that. Moreover, we also think that these really have the potential to unlock broader crypto adoption and to boost credibility of individual protocols as well as the sector as a whole. And that's why we've been entering into redistribution partnerships. So this goes out every day through our own platform. It's on our portal, visited by millions every month. It goes out through our daily newsletter that goes to more than 250,000 people every day. But now we also have it on the Bloomberg terminal, on Refinitive's Icon platform, on S&Ps like Capital IQ. And it goes out to these broader audiences that may not be involved in crypto yet. And we think that's really powerful. And with that, Florent is going to take a look under the hood of how the entire Messari engine is put to work in putting these quarterly reports together.
So Maartje talked about quality reporting on Messari, and she explained the work behind that. I'd like to talk about real-time reporting on Messari and how that can tie back to the quality reports we've been making. So if you look at the structure of a quality report, you basically have 5 main sections. You have a primer on the project that explains to you what is this protocol, what is the asset, what's the history behind it. And then you have qualitative and quantitative analysis. Qualitative is governance updates, important governance proposal, important voters. Notable events is anything off-chain and on-chain. Software upgrades, hacks, attacks, change in the team structure. We track all of that in a quality report. On the quantitative side, we look at financial performance and operational performance. Financial performance being really how much revenue does the protocol generate. Protocol revenue, supply-side revenue, we break it down into these two types of revenue. And on the operational performance side, we look at the key metrics for the protocol. So if you take a lending protocol, for example, we'll look at deposit volume, borrow volume, liquidation volume, number of users. If you take a DEX, for example, we'll look at trading volume, number of LPs. We'll look at specific pools, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that is done on a quality basis. It's standardized, it's transparent, it's accessible. But now if you take a closer look at the Messari product, we also have real-time feature for all of these sections. So we have Messari Asset Profiles and Messari Asset Intelligence reports for the primer on the project. We have Messari Governor for governance, Messari Intel for notable events, Messari Protocol Metrics that we just released for financial performance, as well as for operational performance. And finally, Messari Data Apps. Everything is available in real time. So we're both tackling quality reports, which are pretty useful to get a state of a protocol during the last quarter, kind of bird eye view, as well as real-time monitoring on Messari. So I'm going to deep dive into these different features and show you how we're doing that. So first one, pretty simple, Messari asset profile. We look at supply information, roadmap, history, investors, funding rounds, basically everything you need to know about a given project. We also have Messari Asset Intelligence reports, which are much deeper, go over, I think, 46 different questions about the technology, the contract of the protocol, regulation question, compliance question, and we do that for over 100 assets today, and the library is growing to 300 assets by end of year. Then, looking at governance, we have Messari Governor that tracks in real time off-chain and on-chain proposal across more than 100 protocols. Governor also have governance structure updates, and looking back at the Uniswap example, it's not always super simple to know exactly who is taking decision in a given governance. Governor tracks that in real time so that as DAO evolve and then change in structure, we can capture that in the Governor product. We track proposal throughout the entire life cycle, from the discussion happening to the on-chain vote and the execution. So again, everything is real time. You get updates as soon as things happen, and you don't have to wait for the end of the quarter to know what has happened on a given protocol. We capture data around the key voters, as well as allow our users to vote on-chain and off-chain by connecting their wallets. And finally, we offer deep proposal analysis for the most important proposals, such as the LIDAR Layer 2 proposal. We had a governance note about the Uniswap Foundation, et cetera, et cetera. Now, going to the off-chain and on-chain event side, we have Messari Intel, which has been one of our primary products for more than 2 years now, where we basically track everything that is happening across protocols, whether it's software upgrade, hacks, attacks, etc. We have more than 40 different types of events, and you can get really a calendar view of everything that is happening. We track events throughout their history. So if you look at the merge, initially I think we had, the date was around 2020 for the merge. We had to change it to 2022 because it got delayed. But we track the entire history of changes as that was happening. Finally, you can receive real-time alerts, so you can set up any condition and receive that in Slack or via email. Now, jumping to the financial performance side, we just released Messari Protocol Metrics, which basically gather every data you may care about on the financial and operational side about a given protocol. So we have time series data and charting for revenue, supply-side revenue, protocol revenue, with a transparent methodology. We also have real-time financial competitive analysis. So if you have you can easily look at how your revenue has evolved in the last 7 days, 30 days, 180 days, 1 year, and compare it with other protocols. So you may see that protocols like Erler of Maple Finance are trending with new models, and you may want to have a look at that. On the operational performance side, as I was saying, we track every single metric that matters for a protocol. So that's the example for Aave. You have deposit volume, total revenue, repayment volume, liquidation volume, and many more. We also offer this data across time series, across networks. So in that case, we look at every deployment of Aave v3 about every network. And then we go as deep as pool level information. So liquidity pools, lending pools, vaults for yield aggregators. You can get the list of the pools, but you can also add specific KPIs per pool, such as TVL, APR, number of users interacting with the pool, et cetera, et cetera. Once we've kind of solved that kind of basic or standardized reporting, then we can build cooler things on top of it. So this is a liquidity heatmap that really quickly allows you to see where liquidity is flowing across pools in your protocol. This is account activity tracker so that lending protocols can track the largest borrowers, the largest depositors, and how they've interacted with the protocol across networks through time. This is event heatmap where we look at the activity based on the time of the day of different functions in the protocol. So you can understand, well, it looks like maybe Asian users, because of the time zone, are doing a lot of liquidation. Not in this case, because I think that timing, there wasn't that many liquidation happening. And then we have a lot more KPIs across the board. So this is a preview of the Messari Data Apps product that is launching with gated access. If you want to get access, you can go by the booth. We'll do a demo and provide you access. But the idea is that once we've solved the basic reporting, Now we can allow data scientists and really anyone in the world to build advanced analysis and actionable insights. And that's our vision for the future. If you look at crypto data from 2018 to 2021, and even today, a lot of the work has been going into data plumbing, ETL pipeline, and that's the case for on-chain data, but it's also the case for market data or qualitative data. We believe that as we solve that, and other players solve that, we can spend a lot more time into research and analysis and move from just data to actionable insights. So if you look where we're going with some of our reports and some of our products, we're getting into things like governance and treasury management. These things can improve delegates' participation, increase treasury efficiency, but also reduce governance vulnerability so that you can see, for example, how delegates are voting, is there any cartel happening, et cetera, et cetera. We also go deep, as I just showed, into user analysis, allowing protocols to do things like liquidity mining optimization, network deployment strategy, as well as just basic competitive analysis. And finally, going further than reporting, we also do open protocol contribution. So we had a partnership with the Graph that was announced 4 months ago that allows us to build a ton of subgraphs that are now powering our protocol metrics and data apps product. So we leverage the Messari network. We do call to action for contributors to help us. We want to create standards, and we want to scale open data.
Now, all of this doesn't happen in a vacuum, obviously. To speak in Steve Jobs' words, great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. And so we need you. We need you to join forces with us. So if you're a builder, join us as a subcontractor building on the Graph. Join us full time. We are hiring. We just announced our Series B earlier this week. We're hiring engineers, and we're hiring across the board. So look on messari.io/careers if there's any positions that are of interest to you. If you're a user, we wouldn't be where we are today if the proverbial dogs wouldn't have been eating the dog food. We need you to use our products. We need you to give us feedback on what we do well, on what we can do better, on what else you need to make better decisions. And finally, if you're a protocol, collaborate with us and make us help you to fulfill your fiduciary duties in providing more transparency to your stakeholders. And if you are interested in quarterly reports or any type of other reports that we're doing, you can reach out to myself or Jack Purdy and team, and we'll talk to you and explain it.
And finally, if you have memes about Ryan Selkis, please send it to me, my email address there, and we'll make sure we include them in the next presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.